Hi everyone, it's Marianne. I'm sorry I can't be there for the 10-minute presentations, but here's mine. So this is my 10-minute presentation on one of the lesson plans. I'm focusing on lesson plan day number 3, and since I'm doing art, the subject or the title of this art project, if you want to call it a title, is it's called Positive and Negative Space Project. So let me just show you what that looks like. So the Positive Negative Space art project is a black and white art project that the students will be working on. This isn't exactly the outcome that I want the student, or these are not exactly the objects that we're going to have students work with, but these are examples of what positive negative space art projects look like. So they're black and white art projects, simple, but they can be intricate in some ways. For students, we're going to try to make them more simplified, especially for the younger kids. And as they get older, when we work with older students that can handle a little bit more, we can easily adjust the art project to make it a little bit more difficult for them and challenging. So when I talk about positive and negative space, I don't mean by good and bad. So when someone says positive negative space in terms of art, they're just talking about the object and the space around it pretty much. So positive would be the subject itself, like the scissors, and the negative space is actually what's surrounding it. So what we want to do is in this project, we want to bring focus to the negative space as well. So, and it kind of ends up being a really, really cool project and really cool outcome. So what we'll be doing is having stencils or cutouts of simple shapes for all the kids so that they can trace these simple shapes onto a piece of paper, which will have 2 boxes that are going to be touching, and they'll be right next to each other, and they'll be able to just trace the shapes into these boxes, and they'll be doing it in their own creative way. When we give them shapes, they can put it anywhere in the box, which is kind of cool. They're just gonna have to trace it once, and then on the next box they just trace it again. But it could be like, say if it's a square could be straight on here, and the next box they can retrace that square kind of diagonally or however misshaped way they want to, and then they will color one box. They'll color the subject in, and the other box they'll color in the negative space. And seeing the artwork side by side once it's finished, turns out really cool, and this is what it kind of is going to look like. So the objective of this project is for students to have the ability to be creative with simple shapes. Again, like I said, we'll cut out stencils, and what I'll do is I'll probably make the stencils for everybody, especially since I won't be there the first camp. But I mean, anyone can make their own shapes, but I wouldn't mind making the shapes for everybody. So I'm going to start with really simple like shapes for the young kids, like an oval and a triangle, or an oval and a rectangle. Maybe 2 to 3 shapes per student, and it gives the student freedom to really work with shapes and see how they interact with each other, how they look on a canvas, and just how they can play with it, and just gives them creative ability with such simple shapes. The objective of this project is for students to understand precision and working with mistakes. What happens a lot in this project, in my own experience and experience with other art students who have done this project, is when you trace and you're coloring, you actually end up coloring in a spot that you weren't supposed to. But when a student messes up, we're going to have them learn how to work with it rather than starting over, especially because this project will be done in pen. It'll be done in pen and marker, so that's what the students will be using to color. I also is about time management. I know it's only 2 boxes, but believe you me that this project is pretty time consuming, so I think it'll easily take up the 45 minutes of the class. And if you're thinking about, if you're kind of trying to incorporate demonstration and whatnot, that's actually going to eat up some time, and I want them to really just get into the project. So that's why I'm having this project prepared with a paper with the 2 boxes that they'll be filling in the shapes with, and then I'll cut out shapes for them. So I just want them to, so all they'll do is trace and color, and trust me, that'll take up 45 minutes. This also gives the idea, this gives an opportunity for kids to see, or students to see what other students are doing, learn from other creative minds, learn from what other people are, how the other people are placing these shapes into the boxes. And even though they're simple, it is going to be really exciting to see how people interpret shapes and how they want them to be seen on their canvas, and how they compose these shapes. Another thing, another objective in this lesson plan is to have students know the three terms: positive, negative, and connect. And I know I briefly talked about what positive and negative mean in terms of art. The reason why I threw in connect is because I want students to see how shapes will connect or don't connect, and I want them to understand that term. Okay, so the materials that we will be providing for these students are going to be 2 to 3 simple shapes. I mean, again, it doesn't have to be these ones, but simple enough. And then a paper with boxes. So this is going to be a paper with a cutout with the boxes, 2 boxes. And then we'll need a pencil and eraser for the drawing of the shapes within the boxes, and then black markers for coloring in. Yes, that's that. Okay, so these are the steps and instructions. So this is pretty much what this is what I want, or the outcome of the artwork to look like. So I thought 2 to 3 shapes for the younger kids, and what they'll do, these are very simple shapes, but as you can see, this is they'll have to trace in the shape, and then they color in the positive space, and then retrace the same shapes in the other box, but in a different way, and they'll color on the outside. If you can see here, none of the objects are touching each other, so they're not connecting in any way. So this is where that term connect comes into play. And then, as you know, if we get into other classrooms or classes where students are a little bit older and probably can handle a little bit more, I'm going to take the same 3 shapes and then have them connect. And this is where the pencil and eraser come into play, because once they trace these objects in, they're going to erase the lines where the objects connect so that they become one object. And they'll do the same for this side, where they'll retrace these objects, again, in different ways, but they all have to connect in some way. They have to touch at least, so they have to connect. And then they'll, again, just color on the outside, or in the negative space, sorry. And then for older kids, I thought maybe using a little bit more difficult shapes. These are a little bit more time consuming, as you can see, like angles like this. it becomes more time consuming and a lot more intricate, but it is a really, really fun project, and I really, really like this project. So I hope the kids will like it too, or the students will like it too, or you guys like it, because you should do it too. I think it's fun for everybody. Anyways, so what I plan on doing is just doing a little demonstration on on a whiteboard, or whatever I have available to me, and do a simple shape on a paper and show them how to do it for each box. So for the positive, and then one for the negative, just so that students know what they're doing. And then as the kids or students start working on this project, I will be walking around. I plan on also asking questions, making it making myself very available to students. If they have any questions, I want them to feel comfortable, and I want them to work in groups, not together on a project, but just in groups, so that they can see what other students are doing. I think that's really helpful. I think that just gives students an idea of what other creative people are doing. And then lastly, they're going to showcase their art. This is actually mine. This is one I did. Obviously, this is not what I'm going to have them do. This actually took me, I think in total, maybe like 48 hours. And you would never think that, because it's just coloring, but believe you me, it's a very difficult thing. Anyway, so if the students finish before the classroom is over, then of course I would love them to just everybody pin up their work. If not, I would like them to pin up their work the next day, just to show everybody. I think that would be really cool. But I think that's a big part of art, is that you're being able to showcase what your creative process. So anyway, so that's my lesson plan for day number 3. Again, it is called the Positive Negative Space Project. Have any questions or any critiques or any comments, please let me know. I work really well off constructive criticism, and I could use all the help I can get. All right, thanks guys.